You've probably heard people say, clean up your act. But for Jesus, cleaning up your act was not of primary significance and importance. What was most important to Jesus was changes that went much deeper than your outward actions. Hi, I'm Doug. Thank you for joining me for Transformational Talks. Because Jesus' teaching wasn't just about imparting information, it was also about transforming lives. Last time I talked about the Beatitude, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." And we saw from an Old Testament story that anytime our outward actions are unrighteous, it shines a spotlight on the fact that our inward heart is not pure. Today we'll talk about a story from the New Testament which teaches us a different lesson. The lesson that even when our outward actions are right, that does not guarantee that our heart is right. One day Jesus was speaking, and a rich ruler came up to him and basically said to him, "Good teacher, what do I need to do in order to be saved?" And Jesus responded, "Why do you call me good? There is none good except God." And that, by the way, is going to be very important in just a moment. And then Jesus says to him, "You know the commandments. Do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not give false testimony, do not defraud, and honor your father and mother." And the young ruler said, "I've done all of these things since I was a little boy." And Jesus' response to him was, "Well, there's one more thing I want you to do then. I want you to gather together all of your earthly possessions," which were significant, he was wealthy, "and sell them all, and the money you get, give it to the poor." And the man walked away, sadly, because he had great wealth. Now, what does this have to do with the Beatitude, "Blessed are the pure in heart"? Simply this: when Jesus made his list of things that the law said, he was making a list of the outward instructions of the law. Don't murder, that's an action. Don't defraud, that's another action. And even the commandment, honor your mother and your father, was an outward action because honoring them meant doing the proper things to show honor and to obey them. It is possible to obey and outwardly respect while in your heart having inappropriate attitudes towards your parents. True? So when the young man said, "I've done all of these things," he was saying, "I have done all of the outward actions." But what was Jesus pointing out to him? You see, there was one thing that the young man was completely missing out on. And you've heard me talk about the two great commandments: love the Lord your God and love your neighbor. Jesus knew and understood that although this man had all of the right outward actions, he loved his money either more than he loved God or more than he loved his neighbor, or both. In other words, his heart was selfish and not filled with the love that God desired for him to have. His heart was not pure. He did all the right things on the outside, but on the inside he was harboring something that nobody knew about. And the same may be true of you or of me, that we look good on the outside. We do all the things that everybody expects, but on the inside, what do we have? Pride? Anger? Rebelliousness? These are the symptoms of an impure heart. And we need to remember, too, that Jesus said, whatever is in your heart eventually will come out. And again, as I mentioned last week, it is so important for us to understand that we are not the ones who are able to clean our own hearts. It is our perfect Savior. And so we come to him and confess our sin and say, "Jesus, create in me a clean heart." Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. My Jesus, as thou wilt, oh, may thy will be mine. Into
into thy hand of love I would my all resign. Through sorrow or through joy, conduct me as thine own, and help me still to say, my Lord, thy will be done.